Hey everybody, it's Mr. Movies 87 here, bringing you a new episode of Gaming Breakdown. And today we're going back to consoles, covering one of my personal favorite handheld systems ever, the Game Boy Advance. I can't tell you how many hundreds upon thousands of hours I put into this thing. But before getting into more of the personal stuff, let's go over some details on the console itself first. First came out in Japan, as most things do, March 21st, 2001, followed by North American release June 11th of 2001, and then Europe and Australia June 22nd of 2001. It also came out, and I think it was like the Prince Republic of China, I believe it was, I saw, in 2004, as I recall. And then as of June 30th, 2010, it had sold nearly 82 million units, and I do believe that's combined, not only the original Game Boy Advance, but also the successor models, if you will, as in like the Game Boy Micro and the Game Boy Advance SP. And speaking of successor, Nintendo DS was its successor, November 2004. So, Game Boy Advance. Here's the thing, I never really had a Game Boy Advance at first. I kind of skipped over it and went to the Game Boy Advance SP. That was one of my first handheld systems in general. My actual first one was Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. Although I had the Game Boy Pocket and all that, my brother had the Game Boy Color when we were growing up, and then I got the Game Boy Advance SP for a Christmas present. I believe, I think, it might have been 2001, maybe 2002. I forget which year exactly, but I got Lunar Legend was my first game for it, and I remember. I think I may have even told the story very recently in one of my other videos. I got Lunar Legend that Christmas Day. My brother got Final Fantasy X too, and we both played them pretty much like non-stop for the first few days. I beat Lunar Legend within a couple of days actually, and I'm pretty sure beat 10-2 shortly thereafter. Like my game time for that Lunar Legend file was, I think 26 hours ish, somewhere in that ballpark. I just could not put the game down. Now, I know, yeah, for some people, Lunar Legend isn't their favorite version of Silver Star Story, but for me, that was actually my first taste of Silver Star Story. I hadn't played the PS1 version at all, nor did I say the CD one or anything like that. So that was my first taste into that, and I really, really loved it. It was just so much fun, easy to pick up, easy to play, and I just got engrossed with it big time. Then I believe that the following year, for our Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, my cousin Matt, I think I told the story also just recently. My cousin Matt got Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on Christmas Eve from my grandma, and I got Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls, and I was jealous because I really wanted Chain of Memories beforehand, but then Christmas Day I got Chain of Memories as well, so it was all good. But yeah, Final Fantasy 1 and 2, also my real first instances with playing both of those games, the Game Boy Advance enhanced remakes of the original 1 and 2 there. And I cannot tell you how many new games I've started in Final Fantasy 1 with just different class combinations, like some standard ones like two fighters, red, white mage, black mage, or whatever. Or one of my personal favorite ones I had done was four red mages actually, which went over pretty well. I got them all up to level 99, max HP, max MP, pretty much all the best equipment you can get in Game Boy Advance version. I know there's more in the PSP version of the game, which I have played rather extensively, but I have not done a full Red Mage file on that yet. But that'll be upcoming eventually. But yeah, I also mentioned a couple of the going back a step here real quick, some of the other models of the Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance SP came out early 2003, and the Game Boy Advance Micro came out September 2005. Now, I never had a Micro. It apparently did not have the backwards compatibility of being able to play the old Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, whereas the Game Boy Advance and the SP did. And it didn't really sell that well. Apparently, Nintendo wanted to really focus on it had interchangeable cover plates for it with different colors. So I wanted to try to appeal to, I guess, a broader range of people with the colors and all that, but it never really went over well. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it didn't really matter because the original Game Boy Advance and the SP sold like wildfire. And I still use my SP today. I have my Game Boy Advance SP case that's loaded to the brim with not only Game Boy Advance games, but also Game Boy Color and original Game Boy games. Like that, you cannot fit anything else in that case. Like not even a game, like barely a paperclip, pretty much. And I'm really not exaggerating on that one. It is filled to the brim with games. Also, hold on one second. Pompey, leave him alone. That's what I thought. Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, this picture here, pretty much like every other console gaming breakdown I've done so far, the games featured here are only a small sample of what the console really has to offer, and there are a shit ton of games for this console. I have a handful of them here. Well, you see in the picture, also have a few of them in my notes as well, so they'll kind of like overlap there. But yeah, a few big time note ones here. Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls, again on the combo pack here. Remakes of Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6. Bit surprised Final Fantasy 4 remake. All of those offered new content. In the case of Final Fantasy 5, offered a few new job classes. And throughout each one of the games, new bonus content and new dungeons, new equipment, all that good stuff there. Enhanced remakes of Super Mario Advance games being 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Well, not really so much as 1. But yeah, 2 and 3, Super Mario World, and also Yoshi's Island. They all came out for the Game Boy Advance there. Which, for Yoshi's Island, I have never beaten yet before. I really should eventually. But I remember it being fairly hard, actually. At least when I was younger. If I'm back to it today, I could probably beat it. Um, but it's not a big deal. Um, Moving on to some more, bit surprise, more RPGs here. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga also came out for that. I got that on my birthday as well. I remember my dad and I were hanging out in the mall. We were actually just about to go home actually, and we had just bought. I was looking at the box art, like the front cover, the back cover, the manual, all that stuff. Unfortunately, I don't think I had my SP with me at the time. I had it then, but I didn't have it actually physically on me, so I would have played it on our trip back home, but yeah, I didn't. So, oh well, to each their own. That's not the right phrase to use there, but whatever. Anyway, of course, can't have a Game Boy Advance video without mentioning these next few games here. Pokemon Sapphire, Emerald, Ruby, Fire Red, and Leaf Green. My first case with those, my friend Zach from years and years back had Pokemon Ruby, and I started a new game on that, just for the hell of it. I believe I picked Torchic as my first starter there. Tried Zigzagoon, didn't know how good it was or anything, and we were both so surprised with Zigzagoon's pickup ability that you were able to get really, really good items early on, say like Super Potions, Revives, PP Ups, Proteins, Ultra Balls, Full Restores, all that good stuff there. I mean, we were like 12 years old back then, probably younger than that, and for that, we were blown away of how freaking cool that was. And whenever I play any of those today, besides Emerald, they changed the pickup formula, I believe. But yeah, at least in Sapphire and Ruby, if I'm doing, say, like a solo starter run or whatever, or not a full team of 6 or what have you, I will have a couple of them along, just for the easy pickup there. It makes things so much nicer. Also, it can be a little bit, well, not really cheatsy, but definitely abusive for one thing. But I'm all for it. It's just fun. And then, of course, Fire Red and Leaf Green, enhanced remakes of the original Red, Blue, and Yellow, all that stuff there. Those ones I haven't really played through quite as much. Although I will say, a ROM hack of Fire Red, Pokemon Fire Red Omega, I nearly completed the entire Pokédex in that, like 386 Pokemon. There were only a very, very small handful of Pokemon I needed to actually fill it out. And that's one of the best Pokemon games I have ever played. It's even higher up than some of the original games themselves. Like, it is that good. And yeah, I will eventually LP that because I love it too damn much. So there's that. Moving on to Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. That one, excuse me, another Zelda game that I have unfortunately not beaten. So I'm sorry, Flame Shield up just in case. But yeah, I do remember my furthest file. I have like 2 of the 4 crystals done or whatever. I don't even remember. I'm a decent way through the game. I think I have like maybe seven, eight, 9 hearts. It's been so long, I have no idea. But that game, I believe, would have been also a birthday present. A lot of these games I got were either for Christmas or my birthday, which was kind of nice. Growing up, especially growing up, really, is when I would get stuff for Christmas Eve from grandparents, and then Christmas Day for my actual family, for my my birth family and all that. And then a few weeks later, boom, it's my birthday, so I did more stuff. And of course, me as a kid, you can't go wrong with that. You absolutely loved it. And then also, yeah, with that, my birthday, I would have a friend's party and a family party separate. I would generally have, like, on that birthday weekend, the friend's party would be on that Saturday, and then the family party would be on Sunday. So yeah, growing up, that was just the best. Although what sucked, on the other hand, was waiting all the way until December to get more presents. But hey, such is life. So what can you do? Also here, a big thing on the Game Boy Advance were their NES classics that were pretty much the original NES game just ported onto the Game Boy Advance with like a higher resolution. I had a good few of those actually. The original Mario 1, Zelda 1, Zelda 2. I know there were more made. I think that the original Donkey Kong was made for them. The first Metroid, Ice Climbers. I know there's more, but those are the three that I had. I have never beaten Zelda 1 or Zelda 2. I know. I'm terrible. I really am terrible. I'm so sorry that I even had to say that. But you know what? It is what it is. But yeah, I really need to beat those. I kind of owe it to myself. I mean, I've been gaming for how long, and some of those games I have just not beaten. I don't know what it is, but I'll get to it eventually. Moving on to probably a lesser known Game Boy Advance title, at least I find it as such. Sword of Mana. I remember I bought that from Kmart, funnily enough. I think we were there probably for my birthday, as I recall. Like 13th, 14th birthday, I would assume. And my guess would be we were going to Little Caesars to get some pizza for my birthday because Little Caesars was in Kmart, and they still are today. I'm pretty sure. I think there's a few standalone ones, but generally, yeah, they're all within Kmart, at least to my knowledge, anyway. Um, but yeah, we just roamed around. I'm pretty sure just waiting for the pizza to be ready and all that. Excuse me. And I saw that there. I was like, oh, this looks cool. And yeah, it was a remake of Final Fantasy Adventure from the original Game Boy, which I loved, of course. So I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. Why not? And I actually did beat that game, I remember. And then, yeah, last couple I have on here, well, I already had mentioned before, Lunar Legend and Chain of Memories. Two of my personal favorite Game Boy Advance games ever. Chain of Memories, I want to speedrun it more. If you guys recall, I was kind of working on Reverse Rebirth a little bit there. Can't beat Ansem to save my life. I can beat him in a normal file, but in a speed run, when you're on level like 28, 29, whatever, and when you have like 140 HP ish, somewhere in that ballpark, and he's also a dick, yeah, it's kind of hard. So I need to practice on that. I would like to go back to doing practice runs of that, and also maybe even a full run sometime once I get better at the game. But that's down the road yet. And then, yeah, of course, back to a Lunar Legend there, one of my also favorite games ever. I put in so many save files onto that. And also, in general, with my battery, it's kind of funny, actually. It tells you in the instruction manual there, like, once you charge the battery 500 times, like, beyond that, it'll only charge to, like, 75% battery or whatever. Yeah, my battery lasts for, like, maybe 20 minutes now. Pretty much, like, whenever I play it, I have to leave it plugged in all the time, more or less. That's how much time I put into the thing. With countless games for it, not only for the Game Boy Advance, I mean, like I said earlier, it also plays the Game Boy Color and original Game Boy games. So, I mean, there's probably like at least 30 games in my case I have for it. Probably more than that, really. There should even be, I think, just 30 Game Boy Advance games in there. And then, of course, all the big blocky original Game Boy games in there as well. So, probably pushing 40 games in there if I had to guess. So, it's easy to see why this thing is one of my favorite consoles. I mean, not only handheld consoles, but also just in general. I mean, I've put nowhere near as much time on any other system, really, than I have for the Game Boy Advance. Like, maybe the Super Nintendo or the PS1. But for me, personally, I love handheld systems. Like, if I did have all the games that we own playable on a handheld system, I'd be one motherfucking happy camper. I tell you what. Also, speaking of handhelds, we're going off GBA here real quick. Final Fantasy XII HD Remaster with International Zodiac Job System on PS3 slash PS4 slash Vita, whatever. I don't really care if it comes out for the PS3 or PS4. I personally want it on the Vita. I would play that all the time, and I am not exaggerating. I love that game. I've been wanting to play it on the handheld since it came out, like almost 10 years ago now. So fingers crossed that they announce something for it here for its 10th anniversary, because it's coming up here in October, actually. Okay, so there's that. I think that's about enough for today. For next episodes, actually, I have coming up, I have them already planned out. As I recall, I mentioned this on Twitter before. I'm just gonna ramble on here a little bit. My next one after this will be on the PS3. The one after that will be on the Wii, and then the one after that will be on the Unova starters from Generation 5 of Pokemon. So that would be Tepig, Snivy, and Oshawott. So I'm actually have these planned out for a damn change. Like every other time I mention, stay tuned for next time when I have no idea what I'll be doing. That's pretty much how I've been in every one of these so far. So at least now I'm somewhat prepared for that. So yeah, that takes care of that, guys. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. I sure as hell did making this one. I was looking forward to this one big time here. And with that, I'll see you guys later on. This has been Mr. Moves 87 signing off. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.